Hey y'all. I know this is a surprise and super unorthodox, but please enjoy this bonus episode early. For the sake of this being timely, I'm dropping the bonus episode early that I was actually going to drop after the first 3 episodes, but you're going to get the bonus early. It is a review, you can say, about How to Die Alone, the new Hulu or newer Hulu hit show. If you haven't seen it already, please check it out. I would advise not to get into this episode until you have already watched. I do speak about the first 4 episodes. I don't dive into the last 4 episodes because they had not dropped at the time of this recording. At the beginning of the episode, I'm kind of getting into the, hey, you're going to get this, and then the other 3, you're going to get 4 episodes total. However, disregard, because in honor of the official release date, I've decided to release this episode early. Enjoy, and I'll see y'all on release day. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of I Pick Passion. This is a surprise. I know that I said that you guys will be getting 3 episodes on launch day, but surprise, you'll be getting 4. And this is a bonus, so it's not really a episode per se, but this is a bonus episode. So I don't know if it's a 4th episode technically. However, I was inspired to give you guys this episode because I felt that it was relevant to the podcast. I felt that it was relevant to say right now, although this podcast episode won't be released until launch day. So you guys will be getting this again along with the other 3 episodes. However, I was really inspired to do this. And this that I'm talking about is Natasha Rothwell's new hit show. And we all know Natasha Rothwell from Insecure. She's amazing. Can do some drama as well, because you are also seeing some drama in this role that she is playing. And I personally am a fan of this show. The day I'm recording this is the day that I binge watched the first 4 episodes of the show. So again, you guys won't be getting this until October, but this actually came out in September. The show, all 8 episodes were released in September. The first 4 episodes dropped on September 13th, and I'm recording this on September 14th. I watched all 4 episodes today. I was all in, could not stop. When I say could not stop, I could not stop. It was from the moment I watched the show, it made me feel as though I was watching a glimpse of myself. And I'm sure other maybe 35-year-olds or mid-30s at this point in life where you feel like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I think I might need a reset. I'm still figuring it out. I thought I would have it figured out by now, and I don't. That's my life. That's been my life, and that I've noticed in this 35 season. And it seems to be her life as well. Her that I'm speaking of is Melissa. Her character's name is Melissa that she plays. And when I tell you, Melissa is going through a time in life where she's just trying to figure out, what am I doing? Like, I feel I'm stuck. I'm kind of stuck right now. Like, I'm not where I want to be. The man that I love, that I still have feelings for, I feel like I was at fault for what went wrong. Or I know that I was the cause of what happened between us, and I'm still in love with this man. And so that's a thing that she's dealing with on the romantic side, is that, hey, this man that I do love, he's now, well, I don't want to get, well, you know what, by now you guys should have seen. If you haven't, you are doing yourself a disservice. If you have not seen it, you got to go and you got to watch How to Die Alone. The new Hulu show, you got to watch it. Don't say I didn't warn you. Okay. Don't say I didn't warn you before you get into this episode. I want you guys to know I will be dropping some spoilers. Okay. But it is worth the watch regardless. Like, this show it comforts me. It just comforts me in a way that I did not expect to feel from a brand new show. And from a comedy, it's a comedy, but it is also, I would say it's drama as well, but it is known as a comedy. And it is funny. I mean, of course it's Natasha. Like, you're going to get those moments of the wit and all of that. The first episode, I was almost crying. She died for a couple minutes in the first episode. And then she ended up in a hospital after this accident that she had at home. She ends up in a hospital. She's in the bed beside an older woman on the other side in the room beside the curtain or behind the curtain. And this woman basically is giving her a life lesson, a hard life lesson about her life, and basically saying, hey, do the things in life. Don't be held back. Don't be afraid to do the things in life that you want to do. You know, don't regret. In other words, don't end up this age or older, you know, don't regret not living life. And so I was like, man, of course that moment was kind of like, intense. And then the woman passes away. And so that was a reality check for her in a way where like, man, I can't live like this. The moment that really shook me, I have to admit, after this, she leaves, she goes, she realizes that this woman, the part that really hit home for her is that this woman had no family. This woman had no one, no emergency contact. She had no one to call on. No one knew. Nobody was, concerned about her. This woman had no one. And so she thought about herself and what she had or the lack thereof. And so she's like, man, I don't want to end up like this. She goes to this woman's apartment because they accidentally give her, Elise is the lady's name. They give her belongings when she's checked out of the hospital. She goes to Elise's apartment and she realizes that she has a dog. And the dog runs out of the room and runs to her. When I tell you that moment right there sent me, y'all. It sent me in a way that I was not prepared for in the first episode of the show. I was like, wait a second. I wasn't ready. When I tell you, I was like, okay, I'm all in on this show. Like, I'm officially all in on this show. And I'm invested in this character and where she's going. So, How to Die Alone is a new Hulu show that stars Natasha Rothwell, best known for her work on Insecure. The series revolves around her character, Melissa, a woman dealing with a lack of self-confidence and unfulfilled potential. After a near-death experience, Melissa embarks on a journey of personal growth, grappling with relationships, her career, and her self-worth. The show blends dark humor and real emotional depth, capturing Melissa's struggles and show progress toward improvement. While there are romantic storylines such as lingering feelings for her former boss, the show focuses more on Melissa's internal struggles and non-romantic relationships, making it a compelling mix of comedy and drama. Rothwell's performance as Melissa is noted for its vulnerability and wit, drawing viewers into her personal evolution. And when I say I was drawn in, y'all. So, of course, as I mentioned, the show is amazing. And when I originally watched, I was like, man, this show really resembles the pod and exactly what the theme of this podcast is, what it means, why I'm even doing this podcast. Like, it is me, she is me, I am her, she is me. And so the show is amazing. Again, I've said that 1,000 times and I'll keep saying it because it is. You guys have to watch it. And the themes are relevant to the pod as far as our mission, in self-discovery, overcoming fear, and pursuing personal growth, even in difficult circumstances. So, like I said originally, we do it scared over here. Like, even when you're uncertain or you don't know what you're doing or even why you're doing it, we're doing it anyway. And that's what this podcast is all about. And that's what the show is about. She in the show has a fear of flying. She's never flown before. She works at an airport, but she's afraid of flying, which a lot of people are like, that's kind of like, what? But she's afraid of flying, but she books her flight. She books a flight for the first time to Hawaii to her former boss, aka ex-boyfriend's wedding. She accepts the invitation and she books a flight to go. All of this after the accident that happens to her. She's like, I'm not living. And now I need to live. So she does it. That is what we are in the season of doing in our lives, is doing the things that make us scared. And we're doing them anyway. In the show, Melissa is stuck in a life of self-doubt and fear. Something that many of us experience when we haven't yet found or pursued our passions, okay? So that is why it is important to acknowledge those fears as the first step to moving toward a more fulfilling life, much like Melissa's journey. Melissa's fear of failure, her stagnant career, and rocky relationships mirror the feelings that many people have when they aren't pursuing their true calling. So if you aren't tapping into the thing to make that happen, the thing, meaning that voice that you hear, that God calling, that which God has downloaded inside of you to do. If you aren't tapping into that, you won't feel as fulfilled. That purpose that you have on earth to fill, that's the truth. I'll use an example. I just shot my photo shoot, and I'm going to talk about this because this is relevant right now, and this is like more recent. Yesterday, the day that the show came out, which is very ironic. But yesterday, I got my makeup done for my photo shoot, had an amazing photographer, amazing shots. Everything worked out so amazing. Everything, it just felt so aligned. Everything felt like it happened just as it was supposed to. Even had to pivot, location, but the location worked out even better, if I'm honest. When I say everything, timing and everything worked out so good, guys. You guys by now have seen the pictures. But when I tell you that photo shoot, we planned it, we did it. I got my makeup done. Everything worked. It felt so good. I felt so fulfilled in doing that. I can't say that I ever felt as fulfilled as I felt in that. I felt those moments of fulfillment before. And I knew in those moments of fulfillment, I was in alignment. And that for me felt so good, y'all. Like when I say I felt like I was in my element, during the shoot, I was in my element. And I didn't know that I had that in me. It was like I tapped into a part of myself that I was like, I need this all the time. I literally prayed and I said, I need this feeling all the time. I need more of these moments. I felt so fulfilled. One, I had an amazing photographer who definitely helped me to tap into that, but it was also just really within me. My amazing photographer and friend. When you tap in, when you feel fulfilled, you know what that fulfillment feels like. So I say all that to say, you got to move. You got to take the first steps to move in order to do that. And that's just my story, and I'm sticking to it. Of course, there may be some hesitation or resistance that we face when stepping out of our comfort zones. We may get resistance from ourselves as well as from other people. I mean, just to be honest, we're going to hear resistance from other people. People are going to have things to say. For instance, in the show, Melissa's friend Rory, you can say her best friend, her quote unquote only friend, she got some resistance from him when she wanted to get into the management program. And he's like, well, yeah, no, because I wouldn't really want you to do that because of my dad. I guess he's afraid of looking worse. Like she's stepping up and then him not looking a certain way in his dad's eyes. So he's telling her not to take an amazing opportunity that she could get out of her comfort zone because she never saw herself as management material. But she's stepping out of her comfort zone and actually doing something. And then she gets resistance and he tells her not to. She does it anyway. She got even more pushback. Sometimes in life, and in these moments, it shows you who is really on your side and who's not. And sometimes it's okay that you may have to push people. The season might be up, and maybe the season is just put on pause. It doesn't mean that you all never could be friends again or that friendship could never be rekindled, or it doesn't mean that. Sometimes you just got to put people on pause because they're not aligned with where you are in your season. And that is okay. Oftentimes I think we're afraid to say, hey, look, you're just not aligning with what I have going on right now. And that is okay. Maybe we can unpause this thing, but right now I got to put this on pause. And that's what she had to do with Rory. So that's kind of where we left off on the 4th episode. And again, as I'm recording this, I have not picked up on episode 5. When I tell y'all I'm obsessed with the show, I'm obsessed in every part, in every way. Sometimes you're going to get that pushback. A lot of times it's in our own heads as well. So you just got to push through it. You got to push through it, y'all. And also in the show, Melissa had to confront her past in relationships as well, as we, similar to Rory. And the journey to self-improvement, that journey is going to come with obstacles, personal obstacles and evolving over time. It does not happen overnight, similar to Melissa's journey. She also even emphasized or spoke about in the show, she was talking to one of her coworkers and saying, I feel like I keep getting setbacks. I'm hitting walls. Her coworker, he related it to a game and saying that it's kind of like those walls are telling you which directions not to go. Look at it as it's telling you what not to do. It's a GPS, so to speak. It's navigating you in life, which way to go and which not to go. And so oftentimes we look at it as negative, but in a lot of ways, those setbacks and those things that you feel like, man, I'm trying to move forward and I keep getting thrown back personally and professionally. That is a part of the development. Like, that is going to happen. Those setbacks are going to happen, but you got to just kind of go with it and know that the journey, just keep pushing forward as Melissa is doing. Just keep pushing forward. Don't let that stop you or hinder you. Just don't do it, y'all. And what I love about Melissa's journey is that it's messy and imperfect, but she makes progress. Like, and that's the reality of life. It's going to be messy sometimes. It's going to be imperfect. Never will it be perfect. Don't ever look and expect it to be perfect. But you keep doing it anyway. You keep trying anyway. You keep trying anyway. And I'll keep saying that. Keep trying anyway. So when you're trying to follow your passion or just become a better version of yourself, it's not always a straight path. When you're trying to be a better you, and my goal every single day is to become a better me. Like I said, I know I don't always have it figured out. Nothing is perfect, right? There's no manual to this life. There's no manual other than the Bible. That's the manual right there. Actually, that is the book of life, right? There's so many different ways in which we're supposed to live that we don't live. Yeah, there's no manual to this life. You know, we don't do the things that we should do in this life. And a lot of times we make our journeys hard in so many ways, but there's no manual. So you're always going to just be figuring it out, y'all. Just don't beat yourself up for figuring it out. Give yourself grace, figuring it out. And as far as the Bible and on the spiritual aspect goes, know your word. Just know your word. God doesn't expect for us to have it all together. I don't believe that he knows we're not perfect. He died for our sins, so he knows we're not perfect, right? There's no perfection here. But you acknowledge and you're like, God, I'm doing my best. Like, I'm trying and talk in prayer and just trying to constantly every single day be a better version of yourself. That's all that he asks, and that's all that anyone can ask of you. And as we have discussed in overcoming obstacles, in the 3rd episode, we talked about overcoming obstacles in How to Die Alone. Melissa faces both external and internal challenges, societal judgment and personal insecurity. And with that, those kind of obstacles can prevent people from chasing their dreams. You know, when you're constantly trying to compete with what others may look like, what you think people may or may not think of you, those things can hold you back from pursuing your dreams. You got to get it out of the way. Melissa's journey reminds me of our conversations about overcoming the obstacles. She faces judgment, self-doubt, and fear. But instead of succumbing, she slowly starts making choices that bring her closer to a more fulfilling life. And that's all that anyone can ask. You're going to hear all the self-doubt as we talked about. You're going to get judgment from sometimes even your closest friends. But instead of letting those pressures get in the way and letting them get in your head, you start to make choices to bring you closer to a more fulfilling life. So you're like, hey, look, I'm not giving into this. I got to do what I got to do. You definitely want to have a support system. Don't get me wrong. If you have people in your life that support you, you have a village of those that support your passion and what you're doing in life, that is great. That is amazing. But sometimes and not always will you have that. Unfortunately, you're not always going to have that. So you got to be able to weed out the noise. You got to be able to weed out the noise, right? Rory is a great support, her best friend in the show. Up to a certain point, he seemed like a great support for her. But at the same time, I think he kind of had her locked into a certain expectation that this is the way that it always is. So he kind of took her for granted, or took their friendship for granted in a lot of ways. And when she needed him, he didn't show up. He wasn't there. And then, of course, as I spoke about, he kind of didn't want her to evolve. So it seemed as though maybe this season of my life, you're not the friend for this season. And so to have those supporters and those friends, she did end up having a circle of friends. Her neighbor and the girl at the bar that she met, they kind of became friends, a girl circle. She had a little girl circle, which I could appreciate, and I was happy to see that for her. Melissa needed that, and we all need that. We all need our circle. We all need a circle of supporters and people that we can have in our life that support us in the journey of where we are and meet us at this point in our season. Like, meet me where I am today. We all need that, and I can appreciate that. So if you have it, amazing. If not, go find your circle, go find your people, guys. So just to recap takeaways from the show, everyone's journey to self-discovery and following their passion is unique. And it's okay for it to not be perfect. It's okay for it to be imperfect. And so I just encourage you guys to reflect on your own lives, what obstacles you need to overcome, identifying your passion, and how you can start those small steps toward personal growth. So that is the goal here, you guys. So as we see in How to Die Alone, self-improvement is not linear, and pursuing your passion can be scary. But I do want to encourage you guys all to reflect on where you're holding back and what small changes you can start making today, guys. Make them today. Don't let another day go by and you haven't tried to make a little eensy beensy step towards a better you. So I'm glad that I was able to do this for you. I'm glad that the show came out. I feel like I needed this show, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did, because I truly did. And every episode, I was like, man, this is me. This is the podcast. These are the things that I talk about on the podcast. This is what this podcast is based on. So I really hope that you all felt the same. And I encourage you again to take the small steps. Please engage with this topic. I would love for you all to share your own stories about overcoming obstacles or identifying your passion or whatever it is that you're trying to do, or what small steps can you take to be a better version of yourself, what you're doing to develop your personal growth, or whatever that is that relates to Melissa that you might see yourself in How to Die Alone. I would love to hear that. I would love to hear how you see yourself. And I cannot wait until the next episode. And until next time, be great.